Well, welcome to Building Biblical Community. I'm Bill Donahue, and I'm with Steve Gladen here, and we are excited to be helping you become a biblical community. You know, we have all kinds of relationships in our world and in our lives, but the Bible calls us to a certain kind of relating to one another in community, and that's what we want to help you do together as you gather as a group in this 4-session experience that you're going to have. These 4 sessions will help you get grounded with a foundation for this kind of community that Jesus calls us to. We're going to begin with celebration. It's a very biblical concept and practice of the church and of Israel through history. God's people found a sense of joy and celebration in Him and in one another. Second, we'll talk about what it means to be a learning community, because God gave us His Word and His truth, and He wants us to learn that.
On the 3rd session, we're going to talk about a loving community, and we want your group to help to learn how to express love to one another, which will follow very closely to the 4th session when we're talking about a serving community, because it's in a serving community that you learn to take that love outside of who you are.
Yeah, we don't want you to just kind of be in your little holy huddle here or be in a bubble. So we're going to have those 4 kinds of sessions, but here's what's key. You need to jump in and participate fully. I mean, it's very important for you to take and seize the moment here. Don't sit back for 3 or 4 sessions, because the thing's practically over at that point. So dive in, participate, take advantage of the opportunity.
Let Bill and I be your coaches and your guides through this whole 4-week experience. We want you to be able to jump in and to express community to one another. Take the time to be able to, when you have the questions, use the right amount of time so that you can learn about one another. Now, as you're starting this 4-week journey with us, you're probably wondering, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know that we've been down this road before. We've got a lot of years of experience, unfortunately, decades. And
He's had more than me.
Yeah, I know. Look at us, you tell me. But anyways, but the thing we want you to know is that through the decades of being in groups together, we have learned a lot. And we just want to pass some of these things on to you so that your group experience can be rich and one that you enjoy one another fully.
We've not only been in groups, we've had the privilege of helping other churches build small group structures. I've worked with Willow Creek. I've worked with other churches for many years in that process. And Steve, you've had a long history
with
Saddleback.
Been on the opposite coast with Saddleback in Southern California. Been there for about 13 years. And between the two of us, working that, we see quite a bit.
But what's important is, yes, we've had a lot of experience, but we look back at that first group, and for some of you, this is your first group, or it's maybe one of your first groups. Those early experiences are kind of what help you understand what group's about, and ours were, well, they were normal. What was, I
remember my first one. I was just ready to jump in right there because, it was a scary time, because I can remember, first going into the room, and it was just like, I was like going, didn't know anybody. I knew I needed it, but it was a scary moment. But here's the thing that I learned through the time of being involved in a group, not just leading the group, is that it was always hard to get there, but I was always glad at the end of it.
Kind of like you didn't want to go sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't want to go, but I was always glad I went.
I got invited to my first group experience, and I thought the same thing. Who are these people? What's it going to be like? Is it going to be weird? And some of you may be a little worried about that if it is your first one, but I think you'll find it's just a group of people trying to grow together in their relationship with others and with God. And I think it'll be good if you just jump in and kind of roll with it. I think you'll have a good time.
In a moment, we're going to talk about celebration and what that means. But Bill, why is celebration so critical for us to be the first thing out the gate?
Yeah, we wanted to start with this when Steve and I talked about putting this together, because a group should have a sense of joy and a sense of pleasure and being together and having some fun together. That was part of our groups as we got to know those when we first started out. So that's why we're starting with that. We think that's an important foundation for you. And we want to kick it off with kind of an exercise or a discussion.
Yeah. So let's get started with your first discussion question. Some of you may be new to groups, some of you may be a veteran. But what we want you to do is turn in your study guides at this time, look over your first question. Now, some of you, you'll want to answer this and take about an hour, but we want you to be brief with your, keep it tight. So take time, get to know one another, and most of all, have fun.